Hey traders, Raghee here. Welcome to another episode of Charts and Coffee. Happy Monday, everyone. Rocking actually a tiny cup of coffee today. All right, hope everyone's doing well and ready for this week. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started with what we're going to be looking at just to kick off the week. And a great place to start, if you haven't checked it out already, would be this week's Forex Factory calendar. All right, this week's Forex Factory calendar, the entire week. Scroll down, take a look at what we've got, at what time. FOMC member Evans at 2 p.m. Scroll down, we've got some Bank of England data tomorrow. I've been looking at the pound, so that could be interesting. JOLTS job openings tomorrow and a pretty quiet U.S. economic calendar. So that could be interesting, but not as interesting as what we're going to get tomorrow. Brainerd, Daily, Bostic, my gosh. So we're going to be inundated by a lot of FOMC chucklehead speeches. And it goes into CPI numbers on Wednesday, which is going to be very important because remember, one of the pillars of macroeconomics and one of the main points of what's going on with the Federal Reserve's current monetary policy stance is what's going on with inflation. Now, their preferred inflation measurement, their pet inflation number is not the CPI, it's the PCE. Nonetheless, we'll be watching that one really closely. And then Clarida, Bostic. I mean, it's a busy, busy, busy week in terms of Fed speak. You'll notice we have FOMC member Waller. That's a wild card. We haven't heard from Waller really. So that's another one the market's going to sort of calibrate to on Thursday. So very busy week in terms of FOMC. But I don't believe we have any Kamal, which is good. Clarida and Williams are pretty important events to watch. But for the most part, it should not be as impactful. I'd say Evans and Bostic will be the ones to watch this week. All right, so now that we've got sort of these major events, these hot zones laid out, let's talk about the broader averages. Let's take some of your questions and go from there. All right, so good morning, good morning. Great to see everybody. Okay, so can we take a look at FANG as in Diamondback? Sure, yeah, you got it. You got it. I love the energy play. You guys know that's something that I've been watching for some time. So I love that energy play. And so what I'm focusing on is where is the structure most clear? I can't say FANG is super clear, but it's certainly not one I want to short. So we had a really good uptrend in place till about, let's take a peek right here, till right about the 23rd of March. And then we've gone into more of a sideways market structure, as you can see, highlighted by, again, this is as easy as it gets, color-coded trend recognition or market stage recognition. It's still bullish. I would still call this generally a markup a la Charles Dow, but it's not a trending structure. It's just more or less bullish. So I would be more conservative about the pullback buys, but I would be absolutely fine with those pullback buys. So again, I like FANG to the long side. And then the follow-up question is it an accumulation? No, I wouldn't call it accumulation. It's just the trend has lost some of its swagger. So we are coming up into, as you can see here, to the far right, we're coming up into the dividend. So that's going to be, for us, pretty bullish potentially. All right, let me see here. Next up, Christian asks, I can't see without my glasses. All right, Christian asks, I wanted to ask you How I know where there's rotation taking place, looking at the ETF and sectors. Yes, that's what I do, Christian. So what I like to do is pull up the sectors on Koifin. I look at what's, as I like to think of it, top of the Ferris wheel, bottom of the Ferris wheel, what's enjoying the great view right now, what's sitting at the bottom that's going to rotate up. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of comparing either the different industries or the sectors. You got it. That's what I'll usually do. But I'll use Koifin to do it. And I did every Thursday, I've done this for I think 2 or 3 weeks now. In the futures room, I'll do the premium video. That evening is a macro market deep dive, sort of macro to market discussion. And what I do in that conversation is I discuss the Koifin sectors. I think Koifin's a really easy way to visualize it. So that's what I'll do. Yeah, you got it. Next up, Michael asks about peak. Sure. Good structure, double green, earnings in the rearview mirror. The only thing I would say, not that it's absolutely a guarantee, it's just a tendency. So what I would say, Michael, is that when we're coming up into ex-dividend date, there does tend to be a little bit of strength going into it and then a little bit of a letdown after. So if you're looking for an opportunity and you want a little bit of bearish momentum, you might get that as we're kind of leaving this earnings and dividend window. But it survived earnings pretty nicely. I mean, if I've got a pullback in earnings that sinks down to the wave, generally speaking, that's a terrific setup, either aggro aggressively on the day of the move lower or the day after, if I can still get a good zone from which to buy. So nice looking chart, Michael. Double green, maybe one more day of weakness, buy into that and see if you can just resume the ride higher. That's a good one. Surf the wave on that one. Gold. Sure. Hey there, Kamal. So in terms of gold, it's broken out. If you guys have been following my analysis for any length of time, one of the things I've talked about with gold is waiting for the ZB 30-year futures to break out, which it did, and then gold is basically a green light. I think a lot of traders were looking at gold aggressively through some of this chop, especially through here, the mid to latter part of April. Once ZB broke out, gold has the green light, and that's basically it. Am I going to buy up here? No. We bought, or we would look to buy when the 1, 2, 3 broke and the ZB 1, 2, 3 broke. But overall, if this 1, 2, 3 is now the precursor to an overall trend, don't feel like you've missed a move, gang. You've missed a momentum move. Momentum usually is a precursor to ultimately a trend. And if we're going to see a trend here, be patient, right? If this is really going to turn into a trend, don't feel like all is lost if you didn't jump in on a momentum move. I don't feel like that's even an issue for me. I'm in ZB. I like the gold trade, and gold miners are starting to look good. But if this really is a shift in terms of real yield, it should be here for some time to come, and it should turn into some kind of trend, not just a momentum breakout from the 1, 2, 3 pattern. So thank you for the gold question. I think that's one a lot of folks do have. All right, next up is, what do I think of in the morning, is GM good morning, or is it a look at GM? Well, I'm happy to look at GM. This has been a market that we've been in and out of in the Sector Secrets Mastery for some time. And right now it doesn't have as good a structure as, say, some of the other, I'm looking at other consumer discretionary. So I like GM, generally speaking. We got through earnings. Now it's a matter of another setup. So it's on the back burner, but it's not quite there yet. What about GE? GE, I like GE to the long side. We have earnings in the rear view mirror, which is a really important thing for me. Do I like the fact that there's a trend? Well, there's really not. Look at the yellow color at the very bottom of the screen. There's 2 rows. The top row is the 8, 13, 21. The bottom row is the 30, 34. The 34 is a determination of the trend. This isn't an accumulation market trend. You can see the stage here. And that means it's more likely to be a potential breakout. We're going to be looking for a momentum breakout, probably through, say, 1350 on this chart, probably through around 1350 on this chart. So with that being said, if that's what we're looking for on days that are moving lower into the wave, say between the 34 EMA on the close and low, I just build a long call position with time, because the only thing we really can't control, well, actually, there's a lot we can't control, but I think we're on the right side of the trend, bullish, so calls. What we don't have is a time horizon to the breakout. So give yourself time. And that's one of the mistakes that I see a lot of traders do when they are looking at setups that are of breakout nature. And that is they just don't give themselves enough time. What they'll do is they'll opt for a larger position, or they'll opt for in the money or deep in the money. And their budget, that's the terminology I love to use when it comes to options trading, the budget that they use gets spent in the wrong place. This is day trading. This is end of day trading. And by the way, that's where this awful and wrong advice of you can't make money playing directional debit calls or puts, playing the directional debit in options is so wrong. It's because the timing and the momentum that most traders use when they get directional is just actually wrong. It's a very easy tweak. And this is how I would look at GE to work within what I do. Now, I don't know that I have, is my wingman up? So a lot of traders have been asking about the shift that we made into why isn't that coming up? A shift that we made into, what was it, March? So we went 10K, where my budget for my trades, and I'm trying to just pull this up here. Maybe I'll just show it to you tomorrow, where the budget for my trades shifted to a more 10K friendly account. Because we had done that in the very, very beginning stages of Sector Secrets Mastery back in November. We kind of did a 2-month soft launch, and then we officially went live earlier this year. So it's a pretty new service. So a lot of traders said, look, Rag, we're just joining you now. We just got through that February craziness. We'd love to see a reset. And I don't know why I can't get this to open up. It's going to be something with my Firefox, no doubt. Let's see if I can get it before we wrap up here. But one of the things that I wanted to do was reset and go to that smaller budget around 1,000 to 1,500 per position, and then show you guys what we can do. And so here it is. Okay, so this is not the full update. I've only uploaded from my Thinkorswim. So this is Wingman Tracker, by the way. So I've only uploaded some of the trades from, so that, you upload, for those of you who don't know, you upload your statements into this and it just automatically puts it in. So what I did is, and by the way, you'll notice March was pretty quiet when we reset it, because a lot of the March positions, we took profits in April. And then we're taking a lot of the April entry profits in May. But this is that 10K account. And you can see the spread on the P&L, couple break evens, couple small losses. And these are just straight up long calls, gang. Everything that I've been doing since March was in a cash account, so no PDT. And then I did it with long calls because I've got the bullish bias. We're looking only for buys. So there's no multi-strategy here. 22 different trades since then, and there's actually more to come. So hopefully by tomorrow or by the end of the week, I'll be able to show you guys what we've got going on in that account. But yeah, you can actually see some. Well, I'll show it to you guys tomorrow. But that gives you an idea of what we've been doing since March when we reset the Sector Secrets to a 10K again, like we had done earlier in November of last year. Okay, because look, 2020 and 2021 are two different beasts, right? They're two different things. So I'm not going to bring up 2020 results. In fact, January, February, March, those were tricky months to trade. And so once we reset again in March, it only matters what I've been doing in the last, say, 90 to 120 days. I don't want to talk about what I did last March. I wish I could. Last March was the biggest month of the year for me because we had that extreme move to the downside, and I love trading down markets, and that was glorious. But who cares what I did last March, right? It only matters what we're doing in this reality, in this market, right? So I'll have more updates for you guys on that. All right, can we take a look at AEP? You bet. Nice structure, pullback buys. Adam, yeah, stick with this one. We're just getting past, as you can see here, the ex-dividend date. Remember that as we get through ex-dividend date, we might see a little bit more of a pullback. That's definitely something, if you can, that you want to take advantage of. Can we take a look at PLTR? Absolutely. Do I have an edge here? I really don't. I really don't feel like I do have an edge other than 20, which is a major psychological level, other than the 200 EMA, which is an important technical indicator in terms of the bias of bullishness versus bearishness. That's almost like the equator, right? Splitting the northern and southern hemisphere. This is splitting the bullish and bearish hemispheres. That 200 EMA is quite important. Let's get through earnings and then we can see. But I don't have any skin in the game at all right now. What is my directional bias for futures? Kurt, I'm still bullish. My gosh, yes, I'm still bullish. I'm not going to short this market. There are very few reasons to look at shorts in this market. And I don't want to fade these new highs because, well, I don't hate my money. So I'm still very bullish. And you know what? I'll give you guys another look at something. These are, let's see here. Let me bring this up. This is the dashboard for my day trades in the futures room. And that's where directional bias is really, really important. Here you go. So I have another piece of software that I'm tracking all my day trades on. And gang, this is a long only book. These are my 2021 day trades. This is a long only book. We'll have a webinar coming up pretty soon about what I've been doing. But I've been long only, Kurt, since whether that's end of day or intraday. I've been long only since November 3. And yeah, you'll see on that P&L chart, there are a couple weeks where there's a contraction. Usually those contractions or those flat lines are going to be when the market was a little volatile, or those very few windows of time where we pull back and I ended up getting stopped out of my long, and then I was flat, and that's okay. The bullish book has been very productive. It's easier to be a one-way or a trader with directional bias rather than, the back and forth two-way trading. I do not recommend that for most traders. You're going to see a better set of results with swinging at fewer pitches and sticking with directional bias. So I'm still very bullish, long only. Yep, long only book. All right, next up, and this will probably be the last question. However, if you are interested, if you have some time, Peter, yeah, I'm in the futures. I'm logged into the futures room every day, but I do the open. I'll be doing the open today in about 30 seconds. And if you have the time, head back on over, or if you're on the Facebook channel, head on over to the YouTube channel, the Simpler Trading YouTube channel, and I'm going to be live streaming our open here as soon as I wrap up here with Charts and Coffee. So if you want to join me, if you have the time to join me, even if you can only join us for the first hour, we'll be going for about 2 hours, 9:20 to 11:30. It will be available later on if you want to watch it, but live is tremendous. You can take questions and we can look at the markets together. So if you want to join me, go ahead and head back on over to the Simpler Trading YouTube channel. Check out, you'll see the futures link for the live stream, which is going to get started right now. So with that in mind, gang, wrapping it up. Thanks as always for joining me for Charts and Coffee, and I'll see you tomorrow.